Well, that took a little longer than I thought, but the camper box is back up off the flat deck and we're ready to go. Thanks for tuning in and welcome back to the shop. This is our 2013 Mitsubishi FUSO FG that I'm slowly turning into an overland camper. In the last episode, I installed these two over-center latches to help pull the camper down tight before I put the retaining pins through the lugs. My plan had been to put the pin holes in and have the back end wrapped up, but unfortunately I realized that when the camper's pulled down tight, it actually has some interference with the lower frame. So I've got to take a little bit of material off here and here before I continue. And that meant I had to lift the habitat box back up again, but this gives us another opportunity. To give myself access to actually be able to get in here and carve that out a little bit, I'm gonna move the truck forwards, which will also give me the space I need to cut this section out on the front. So that is what I'm hoping to do today. With the camper box supported on jacks, I can carefully inch the truck forward to get the access that I need. I don't need a lot of room, just enough room to work. Well, you may have noticed that things shifted around a little bit when I pulled out there. That's okay, I can still get things lined up when I put it back on. And we've got two things that happened that are good. One, the truck started, which, you know, over the last year has been a big deal. And number two, we now have access to make the modifications to these tabs. Oh, and access to make the modifications here so that these over-center latches can reach that part of the subframe. With something like this, we don't want to just do a straight cut because I've got a weld down here. I want to keep some nice radiuses into the cut, and I need to make sure that we have enough removed. Now, this side wasn't actually touching, so we'll have plenty of clearance no matter how much I take off. But to keep it consistent, I'm going to run beside my weld here. I'm going to come up an inch right there. Just going to use this scrap here as a straight line, like that. And then of course the radius is super important, so you need to use a really accurate tool, like a roll of tape. And I'm just gonna trace it down like that. We're also gonna radius this corner off with our same beautiful radius gauge. Something like that. This corner's not important for anything other than looks, and well, I mean, it's really important for transferring stresses. That's what we're aiming for, something like that. As far as the actual cutting part, I could use a jigsaw, I could try it with a Sawzall, I could just grind the whole thing away, I could die grind it. I think what I'm gonna do is use a zip disc on my grinder to cut the majority of it away, and then I'll use a flap disc to grind the rest of it away. It's going to be pretty dirty, there's going to be aluminum dust all over the place, but I think it's going to be the most effective for the time it takes to do it. The zip disc will cut the initial rough shape, and once the piece is removed, I'll use an 80 grit flap disc to blend the radius in at each end. And then of course the last thing, peel the tape off. It really is a quick and painless way of doing things. Once the basic shape is there, I switch to a finer disc to give a final smoothing to the surface. It's actually an 80 grit as well, but it's quite worn out and acts more like a 150 grit. So with those trimmed to shape, I should now be able to pull down tight without any interference there, which will allow me to drill the hole for the 1-inch pin. But before I put the camper box back on, I want to trim this little square out of here so that I can install the over-center latch there to pull down at the front. Now, in order to be able to do this properly, I really need to take this piece out. And before I do that, I'm going to drill one little hole here for the radius in the corner. Oh, that drill bit's dead. If you're wondering why I drill a hole in the corner, it's because a rounded corner doesn't transfer the stress coming along one direction into the corner, which then forms a crack. So a nice drilled round corner, the stress will go around the corner. And it looks better. With the hole drilled, now I can take the plate off. That probably could have been a shorter bolt.
Well, at least with this ratchet, it's quick even though it's long.
That one too. Man, I love this ratchet. There we go. Now we have access to cut. And just like that, we're back together. And yes, I did replace those insanely long quarter 20s with some shorter ones. I must have run out when I was putting it together the first time. There's one more thing that I want to do before I finish up the front end here, and that is to install the over-center latches on these mounts here. I've used a little bit of a different style here. No particular reason. I don't remember why I bought this style when I did, and I don't remember what they're rated for, so I'll see if I can find the information. Take a look in the video description if you're interested. These ones are mounted inverted to the back. So in the back, I mounted them to the subframe, and we had the clamp on the truck, and this time we're gonna have the assembly on the camper box and the little clip down on the frame. My reasoning, I think, when I came up with this was because down underneath it's much harder because there's a lot of engine components and exhaust and batteries in the way, so I figured if I put it this way up, it's easy to get at the handle. This is also a locking handle, so you have to squeeze this to release it. So a little bit more, hopefully, secure. Again, these are not holding the truck box or the camper box to the truck. They are simply there to tension it before I put the locking pins in place. So we're gonna throw 4 quarter 20s through here. Hopefully they line up with the holes that I drilled long ago. And look at that. Then we can stick some nuts on the back and we should be ready to go.
And once again, I've proven my stellar choices of camera angles that clearly show exactly what I'm doing. I thought about taking it apart and filming it again,
but I've already done it, and I've done the same thing on the other side, so now I can put the truck back under the camper box, lower it down, and start marking my pinholes. Not as difficult as I thought it was going to be, but I do have to do a little bit of playing around with the alignment because, as we can see, we're tight up against this side again and got a bit of a gap over here. So I should be able to do that as it's coming down on the jacks. So that's what I'm going to do now.
Normally I would remove the sound on a sped up clip like this, but it's kind of interesting to hear the jacks winding up and down, so I've left it in.
Back down, pretty much centered, not 100%, but for this part it doesn't matter because it's just a straight shot through with the pin. So now that we've got it pulled down tight, I don't have interference in between the steel and the aluminum anymore. Here we got nice clearance there, and the same over here, lots of clearance. And up front, we are ready to secure our over center latches up here once I install the kind of catch on the bottom. So with everything in place, let's see if we can line up some rear pinholes. So as I've mentioned, I'm using a 1-inch pin to go through here. I'm going to drill a hole here, and then it's going to go into the second lug that's over here about 4 inches away. The trick is, a 1-inch pin has a bit of slop in there, but I need to get this hole in the right place so that we line up with the hole that already exists over here. I probably don't need to mention that I need to get this hole in the right place the first time. That's a piece of 1/2-inch thick aluminum. I really don't want to have to weld that hole closed again and then drill another pinhole. So getting it in the right place is going to be important. My first thought was just to take a hole saw and go straight through, but I'm actually going to do an 1/16 hole here. Give me a tiny bit of clearance, just like the clearance that's in this hole for the pin. And I may end up actually sleeving that if we get it really accurate. I'll put a stainless sleeve in it. So what I want to do is I'm going to take, this is a 13/16 socket, so it's a pretty snug fit in the hole. It is slightly larger than the pin, so it's a bit tighter clearance. And I can take this and I can use it to line up a marker for where my hole needs to be, because I'm actually going to take this back off the truck to drill it. But you can see there's still a little bit of slop in the angle here. So my next thought was to take a little magnet and use this. How did I put that in there? There. To help me make sure that this doesn't have slop in it when I push it up against that. This is going to keep it nice and square. And now I'm going to pop this in. And use that to make a mark on the tape so that when I pull this back out again, I can refine the center of the hole. We get a closer shot of that on the other side. And you can see that is clearly marked on the tape where the hole needs to go. And after that simple little exercise, now I need to lift the camper box back up again and move the truck forwards again. It's up, it's out. So now I'm hoping if I take the same socket and set it right on the same lines, I can go through the center, which is smaller in diameter because it just has the hex on it. And that should give me my center point. Now the next step is probably the most critical of all on this hole. When I drill this pilot hole through here, I have to make sure I'm dead level with the truck. Not up, not down, and also square, not in, not out. Otherwise, my hole that goes through will end up in the wrong place on the far side. And my drill does not have any levels on it. So therefore, this is going to take all of my concentration, and because of that, I'm not going to film it. But I'll show you when it's done. All right, that's not really fair, but I will show you how I did it. So several times through drilling it, I brought my square and level out and made sure that I was level and square to the drill bit. And now that we're done, I can confirm when we measure to the bottom of the hole there and to the bottom of the hole here, we are in fact in the same place. And I did the same from the back like that, and it is also, whoops, like that, and it is also the same. So now I'm going to repeat the same on the other side, and I'm not going to show you again. Now that I've got nice square and straight pilot holes in each side, I can cut the main hole. Now, because the pilot hole is there and I've got a pilot bit, this should be pretty straightforward. It shouldn't be able to wander too much. Still going to have to be careful to keep going straight, but that pilot hole should keep it really in the right spot. And that should give us 2 holes, hopefully the right size and in the right place. And some of you probably noticed a couple of things. One, the hole isn't in the center, and that's okay. I knew it wasn't going to be from the start, way back when I was welding these pieces on. That's fine. And maybe you're thinking, is it? There's about a 1/2 inch of aluminum left at the back, and it's 1/2 inch thick plate. So let's look at some numbers that I'm aware of. That is 6061 aluminum. That has about a 40,000 psi strength before yield, meaning it can handle 40,000 pounds per square inch before it deforms permanently. Being that it's a 1/2 inch thick, that means we have a 1/2 inch by a 1/2 inch, which is about a 1/4 of a square inch. So a 1/4 of 40,000 psi is 10,000 pounds. Yeah, but it's welded, so we lose some strength in this part just because the weld beside it. So let's say we knock it in half. That means that piece there can handle about 5,000 pounds of load before it permanently deforms. Now, if I apply a 5,000 pound load this way, it's clearly not all going through this side. Some of it will go over here. Let's call it 50-50. So rough math, that puts us back up to about 10,000 pounds for the lug. And there's 2. So there should be about 20,000 pounds worth of hold down in those 2 lugs on the back, even though it's only a 1/2 inch by a 1/2 inch of 6061 aluminum. If that camper box weighs 20,000 pounds when I'm done, there's a lot of things that I will have done wrong. Of course, it's a hold down lug, so we want some factor of safety in there. If the camper box ends up weighing 5,000 pounds, I've still got a 4-to-1 safety factor, and I'll be pretty disappointed if it's 5,000 pounds. I'm thinking we're probably going to be in the more 2,500 to 3,000, maybe 3,500 pound range. So safety, I think we've got it covered. And now for the, I don't know how manyth time, let's put the truck back under the camper box. You've seen this before, I'm not going to show you. Well, we're back in place. The weight is off the legs, the over-center latches are done up, so pulled down tight. The real question is, do the pins fit? The holes in the aluminum are 1/16 oversize, if you recall, so if they didn't fit at this point, I'd have a lot of work ahead of me. But that said, they are nicely centered in both of the holes, so I think we're doing pretty good to get a good alignment. And if you missed it earlier when I said it, the reason I've oversized the holes is because I do plan on putting a sleeve in there, a really thin stainless pipe, just to strengthen it up a little bit more. But for now, we are yet again one step closer to being able to drive the truck. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure you give us a thumbs up, hit the hype button if you see it. If you haven't already, consider subscribing. Make sure you check the links in the video description. But most importantly, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.